Hi, this is AJ again. Welcome to the next lesson. This week's lesson is called Walden. And we're going to talk about a book with the same name, Walden, by a writer named Henry David Thoreau. Now, Thoreau is probably my favorite American writer. I guess maybe my favorite writer in general. He wrote back during the American Civil War, prior to the American Civil War. And his book, Walden, is his most famous book. Now, it's quite difficult. There's a lot of big vocabulary in this book. And also the writing style is kind of old. Very, very, very formal English. And a little bit of an old style of English. So I'm going to read one paragraph from the book, and then I'll talk about it more. And that paragraph may be quite difficult for you, but don't worry, I'll explain it after. Now, Walden, the book, is about an experiment, an experience that Henry David Thoreau had. He decided to go and live in the woods, go away from the town where he was, into the woods, into the forest, and then build a very small little simple house and live in it by himself and just think and relax and live a very simple life. And then he wrote a book about this experience. Now, of course, this is something that people have done for centuries and centuries. Holy people, religious people, spiritual people, philosophers. In many different periods of history, in many different locations in the world, they've gone off by themselves to some small, remote place away from other people to think, to live simply. And of course, we have a lot of great intellectual breakthroughs from these people. So it's a long tradition to do this. And then Henry David Thoreau was following the same tradition. And it's not a usual thing for Americans, I would say. So he was maybe one of the first Americans to do this and write about it. I'm sure many did it, but he wrote about his experience. And this book is a book about his experience, his experiment. But more so, it's a book about his philosophy, a philosophy of life that he developed while living in the woods alone. And the main part of this philosophy is to live simply. That, in fact, we don't need so much in terms of things, buying things, getting lots of things. So even at that time in the United States, people were always trying to get more, bigger, bigger, bigger house, more money. More, nice furniture, just always buying things. And of course, today we have more computers and iPods and phones and bigger cars and nicer stuff. All the time, people wanting more. And he was saying this is a source of unhappiness. If you're always trying to get more and more, you will never be happy. And so his idea was actually to be happy with what you need, and then focus on doing other things instead of always trying to get more. Live more simply, and you will have a lot of time for yourself. You'll work much less. You'll enjoy your life. So that is the basic philosophy of Henry David Thoreau. It's also a very Buddhist or Taoist philosophy. A lot of different religions and spiritual practices have this similar philosophy. So anyway, let me read this paragraph about his experiment, and then we'll talk about it a little more. Here we go. I learned this, at least, by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. He will put some things behind. He will pass an invisible boundary. New, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him. Or the old laws will be expanded and interpreted in his favor in a more liberal sense. In proportion as he simplifies his life, the laws of the universe will appear less complex. And solitude will not be solitude, nor poverty, poverty, nor weakness, weakness. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now, put the foundations under them. Okay, that is the paragraph. What does it mean? Let's talk about it. I'll go from the beginning and discuss the meaning of this. Now, the beginning part, he says, if one, it means if someone, advances confidently, strongly, in the direction of his dream, of their dream, and endeavors and tries to live the life they have imagined, they will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. What that means is, if you try to live your dream, you will be successful. You'll be surprised that if you really are confident and strong, you say, I will do this. Whatever your dream is, whatever your big goal is, if you just start working towards it and trying to get it, that you'll be surprised at your success. You will succeed. It will be less difficult than you imagined. And then he talks about, new laws will open around this person. What he's saying is that the universe, or God, or the Tao, whatever your belief is, that it will help you. That, in fact, that the more confident you are, the more strongly you try to get your dreams, you will get help. Things will happen to help you. And, if you're religious, maybe you think God is going to help you. But, God's going to wait until you are confident, until you actually try to live your biggest dream. And if you do that and you keep trying and you're strong and you believe, then God will give you help. And if you're not religious, so you don't believe in God, maybe it's, the Tao or the force of the universe, or, maybe it's your unconscious mind that's going to give you that help. Whatever it is, some force or forces will help you. You won't be alone. That's what he's saying. So he's basically saying to have faith, believe in your dream, try to get your dream. And if you do it, you're going to succeed. It's going to be easier. Things will happen to help you. So that's the first part of the paragraph. And the second part of the paragraph, he says that the more you simplify your life, the easier life becomes. That's what that means. In proportion as you simplify your life, the laws of the universe will appear less complex. What that means is, the more you make your life simple, the easier your life becomes. Everything becomes easier. It's easier to succeed. It's easier to do everything. You have less stress in your life. Everything becomes much, much easier the more your life is simplified. And then finally, he says, if you have built castles in the air, your work is not lost. That's where they should be. Put the foundations under them. Castles in the air, I'll talk about this in vocabulary, but castles in the air just means dreaming big. It's a slang phrase, an idiom actually. And it just means if you build castles in the air, to build castles in the air means to dream big, right? You're not building a house on the ground. You're building your house up in the air. You're dreaming a big dream. He's saying that is great. That's fantastic. You should dream very, very big. Don't have small dreams. Have really big dreams. He says, but the next step is you must do something. Don't just dream. Just dreaming is not enough. If you dream only, nothing will happen. He says you have to put the foundations under the castle, under the house. That means you have to take action. You have to take action. You have to dream a really big dream. That's the first step. But the second step, you have to take action. You actually have to work to get that dream. So he's saying, yes, dream big, but also take action. All right, so that is the end of the Walden main story here. I hope you enjoyed it. Walden is a fantastic book, but I warn you, it is quite difficult, so reading the whole thing might be very difficult for most non-native speakers. In fact, it can be a difficult book even for native speakers. But I hope you get a little bit of the idea of Walden and of Thoreau's philosophy just from this paragraph alone. Okay, I'll see you in the vocabulary lesson. Bye-bye. Hi, this is AJ. Welcome to the vocabulary lesson for Walden. Let's get started. Our first word is advance. To advance. So this is a verb. Now you probably know advanced and in another meaning high level. But this is a different meaning. This is a verb. It's an action. To advance means to move forward. To move forward. So advance towards your dreams means move towards your dreams. Go forward towards your dreams. All right, our next word is to endeavor. Well, this is a noun also, but in this paragraph, it's a verb. To endeavor to do something. To endeavor to live the life you have imagined. To endeavor to live your dreams. And endeavor means to try, to attempt. So to attempt to live your dreams. To try to live your dreams, to endeavor to live your dreams. So Thoreau is saying you should endeavor to live your biggest dreams. You should try to live your biggest dreams. Okay, and then a little later he says, if you do this, if you try to live your biggest dreams, and you try hard, then you will have success unexpected in common hours. Okay, unexpected is kind of like a surprise, right? But in common hours means during normal times, like in your normal life. So maybe right now, during your normal life, you imagine your big dream, and you can't imagine success. It seems so difficult. It's like, oh my God. Okay, so this is sort of your normal time, your common hour. But if you take a big chance, if you really try, your success will be huge. It'll be bigger than you can imagine normally. So in common hours means normally, during normal times, usually. It has that idea. A little bit later, he uses the word liberal. Now, liberal has a lot of different meanings and uses. It can be used in a political way. But here it's used in a much more general way. He says, if you try to reach your dreams, then liberal laws will begin to happen around you. So liberal here means flexible, free, open, tolerant. Okay, so it's this idea of more flexible, more free, more tolerant and open. So what he's saying is that liberal laws as in like religious laws, spiritual laws, scientific laws, physical laws. He's just saying that the universe or God or whatever will make things easier for you. That the more you try for your big dream, that things will become more liberal. Your life situation will become more flexible. Your life situation will become more easy and free. Your life situation will become more open. So he's saying that your experiences, your situation, your environment will become more liberal because you have this strong belief for your big dream. Because of that, your environment will become liberal. Liberal meaning flexible, liberal meaning free and open. All right, next we have the verb, the word to establish. To establish. So he says that this liberal environment will establish itself around you. The liberal laws, the liberal environment, the liberal situation, the free, open situation will establish itself around you. To establish means to create, basically. So this situation will be created around you. It will be established around you. So to establish means to create, to start and create, to make. Okay, so again, establish means to create, to make. All right, our next phrase, in proportion as, we also say, in proportion to. So, in proportion as, or in proportion to, means equal to, or in the same amount. In the same amount, or equal to. So it's in proportion to, in proportion as. So what it says, in proportion as you simplify your life, life will be easier. It means those two things are equal. If you make your life a little simple, your life becomes a little easier. If you make your life a lot simpler, your life becomes a lot easier. Equal amounts. These amounts equal each other. So if one is less, the other's less. If one is more, the other is more. Right? They're in proportion. They're equal amounts. Or similar amounts. I already talked about this next one in the main article, but let me talk about it again. To build castles in the air. He says, if you have built castles in the air, your work is not lost. It's not bad, is what he's saying. Building castles in the air is not bad. So to build castles in the air, it's an idiom, and it means to dream something big, to have a big, 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 big dream. Some people think this is negative, right? Oh, you're a dreamer. You're not realistic. You're a dreamer. You are always building castles in the air. You're always dreaming something big, building castles in the air. To build castles in the air, to dream something big and wonderful. Of course, he's saying that's great. That's what you must do. If your dreams are small, you won't have any energy. You won't have any passion. Nothing happens. So he's saying you should build castles in the air. You should dream big. Then he says, but the next step is you must put the foundations under them. So this is a metaphor. It's kind of like poetry a little bit. He's saying, put the foundations under the castle in the air. What does that mean? It's a little complicated. Well, a foundation is the bottom of a building. Now, it has different meanings, this word foundation. But here, we're talking about the bottom of a building, kind of the floor and under the floor. It's the whole building is on top of the foundation. It's the bottom. So the foundation must be strong, right? You have to have a strong foundation, a strong bottom, so you can build a big building on top. So that's the direct meaning. It's the bottom of a building. But what he's really saying here is that you have to have actions to support your dreams. So if your dreams are in the air, they will fall unless you put actions under them, right? He's comparing dreams and a building. He's comparing dreams and a castle. He's saying if you have a castle, if you have a big building in the air, you must put something under it. You must support it, right? A foundation. So if a castle is a dream, the building is a dream, what's the foundation? The foundation is action. You have to put action or actions under your dreams. That's how your dreams become real. You must support your dreams with actions. That's what he's saying. That's what he means by foundation. Put the foundation under your dreams. Put the actions under your dreams. All right, that is all for our vocabulary lesson for Walden. See you next time for the mini story. Hi, this is AJ. Welcome to the mini story for Walden. Take a deep breath. Shoulders back, chest up, big smile. Are you ready? Let's get started. Inca wanted to build a huge, beautiful house. What did Inca want to build? Well, Inca wanted to build a huge, beautiful house. What kind of house did Inca want to build? A huge, beautiful house. She wanted to build a huge, beautiful house. Who wanted to build a huge, beautiful house? Inca. Inca wanted to build a huge, beautiful house. Did she want to build a huge, beautiful car? Not a car. No, she didn't. She didn't want to build a huge, beautiful car. She wanted to build a huge, beautiful house. In fact, her dream was to live in a castle like a princess, all by herself. What did she want to live like? Like a princess. She wanted to live like a princess. Where did she want to live? In a castle. She wanted to live in a castle. How did she want to live? Like a princess. She wanted to live like a princess in a castle. Where? In a castle. She wanted to live in a castle. Did she want to live with other people? No, she didn't. She did not want to live with other people. She wanted to live by herself. Her dream was to live in a castle like a princess by herself. And who? Who wanted to live in a castle like a princess by herself? Inca. Inca wanted to live in a castle like a princess by herself. And so, she advanced toward her dream. Did she wait? No, she did not wait. She advanced towards her dream. She moved immediately towards her dream. Did she advance away from her dream? No. She advanced towards her dream. She moved towards her dream. Who advanced towards her dream? Inca, of course. Inca advanced towards her dream. And what was her dream? To live in a castle like a princess by herself. She advanced towards her dream. She went towards her dream. First, she endeavored to build a castle of diamonds. What did she try to do? She tried to build a castle out of diamonds. Did she try to build a castle out of stone? No, not out of stone. She didn't try to build a castle out of stone. She endeavored to build a castle out of diamonds. Did she endeavor to build a castle out of water? Of course not. She can't do that. She didn't endeavor to build a castle out of water. She endeavored to build a castle out of diamonds. What kind of castle did she endeavor to build? Well, she endeavored to build a castle of diamonds, a diamond castle. But there was a problem. Diamonds are too expensive and they're really heavy. She couldn't build a diamond castle by herself. Are diamonds too expensive or too cheap? Well, of course, they're too expensive. Diamonds aren't too cheap. Diamonds are very, very expensive. Are diamonds heavy or light? Well, of course, they're very heavy if you have big ones. If they're big diamonds, if you're trying to build a castle with very big diamonds, they're heavy. So she endeavored to build her castle out of diamonds, but she had to stop. It was too expensive. So next, she asked her friends for help. She established a team of builders. What did she create? Well, she created a team of builders, a building team. What did she make? She made a team of builders. She established a team of builders. Herself and her friends. They made a team. They established a team. Who established a team of builders? Well, Inca. Inca established a team of builders. Why did she establish a team? Well, because it was too difficult to do alone. She couldn't build a castle alone. It was too expensive. It was too difficult. And so, she established a team. She created a team to help her. Every day, the team worked to build the castle. But diamonds were too expensive. And so, they built a huge castle out of gum. What kind of castle did they build? They built a gum castle. Did they build a rock castle? No, they didn't. Did they build a diamond castle? No, they didn't. What kind of castle did they build? They built a gum castle, a chewing gum castle. Who built a chewing gum castle? Well, Inca and her friends. Inca and her friends built a chewing gum castle. Was it a small chewing gum castle? No. It was a huge gum castle. Inca and her friends built a huge gum castle. What kind of foundation did the castle have? The bottom of the castle, the floor and under the floor. What kind of foundation did the castle have? Was it a gum foundation? Was the foundation made of gum? No, it was not. The foundation was not made of gum. Was it made of rock? No. It wasn't made of rock. It wasn't made of gum. What was the foundation made of? Well, obviously, the foundation was made of spaghetti. It was a spaghetti foundation. Who built a spaghetti foundation for the castle? Well, Inca and her friends. Inca and her friends built a spaghetti foundation for her castle. They built the castle on top of spaghetti. The floor was spaghetti. Under the floor was spaghetti. What kind of foundation was it? a spaghetti foundation. They built a spaghetti foundation. It was very soft. So what kind of castle did they build? Well, they built a gum castle with a spaghetti foundation. Did Inca live in the castle alone? No. She invited all her friends. She lived together with all her friends in the gum castle with the spaghetti foundation. And they lived happily ever after. The end. All right, I'll see you next time. That's the mini story. See you for the point of view lessons. Bye-bye. Okay, welcome to the POV, point of view, lessons, stories for Walden. Same story, different points of view. The first point of view starts with, since she was 16. Since she was 16 years old. Since she was 16 years old, Inca has wanted to build a beautiful castle. She has wanted to build a beautiful castle, starting when she was 16 until recently. Since she was 16, Inca has wanted to build a big, wonderful, beautiful castle. She has dreamed of living in the castle like a princess by herself. Who has dreamed of living in a castle by herself like a princess? Inca has dreamed of living in a castle by herself like a princess. What has she dreamed? Well, since she was 16, she has dreamed of living in a castle like a princess by herself. She has dreamed about this every day. Since she was 16, she has dreamed about being in a beautiful castle. She has dreamed about living like a princess. Every day she has dreamed about this. When she was 17, she dreamed about it. When she was 18, 19, 20, 21. Continuing, starting when she was 16 and continuing. She has dreamed and dreamed and dreamed. Well, one day, she decided to advance towards her dream. She decided to take action. And so she did. She advanced towards her dream. In fact, she endeavored to build a castle out of diamonds. She tried to build the diamond castle. But it was too difficult. Diamonds are very expensive, and big diamonds are very heavy. And so she stopped. Next, she asked her friends for help. She established a team of builders to help her build the castle. Every day, they worked on the castle. But they didn't build a diamond castle. They built a huge castle out of gum. But that's not all. The foundation of the castle was made of spaghetti. They built a gum castle with a spaghetti foundation. Eventually, they finished the castle. And they all lived together in the castle, Inca and her friends. In fact, they lived happily ever after. Okay, that's the end of our first point of view story. Let's next go to the future, back to the future. Are you ready? So now I have this idea, a story that will happen in the future. Hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen in the future. So there will be a woman named Inca. Inca's gonna want to build a castle A huge, beautiful castle. She'll want to live in this castle like a princess. In fact, her dream will be to live in a castle like a princess by herself. That's going to be her dream. One day, she'll advance towards her dream. She will take action. First, she's going to endeavor to build a castle out of diamonds. She'll try to build a castle out of diamonds. But there will be a problem. Diamonds will be too expensive. Of course, diamonds are too expensive. They're very expensive. And diamonds, big diamonds, are very heavy. So, she'll stop trying to build a diamond castle. Next, she'll ask her friends for help. She'll establish a team of builders. They're going to work every day building the castle. Every day they'll go to work. Every day they'll work and work and work to build the castle. But they won't build a normal castle. They won't build a diamond castle. They'll build a castle out of gum. They're going to build a huge, giant, super big gum castle. But that's not all. They'll build a spaghetti foundation under the castle. The castle will have a spaghetti foundation. It'll be a gum castle with a spaghetti foundation. Now, when they finish, Inca won't live alone in the castle. No. She's going to invite all her friends to live with her. And they will. They'll all live happily ever after in the gum castle with the spaghetti foundation. All right, that is the end of the point of view story. I hope you're smiling. I hope you're moving and breathing and standing tall. I will see you next time. This is AJ. Bye-bye.